Hi, welcome to the Kapinga Family channel once again. So some of you asking me to make a video specifically for the African countries. So the steps to come to Canada, actually, whether you're coming from Europe or you are coming from African countries, it's more or less the same. So the same way that you can come from Europe is almost the same way that you can come from Africa. I'm going to try and explain this as simple as possible, just like in all my videos. So the first step is you can either come on a study permit. You can either come as a skilled worker. If you are from the African countries, something else might apply to you. That is, you can come as a refugee. Okay, so those are like the three ways that you can use to come to Canada. But what I want to explain today specifically is for the express entry, because some people contacted me and they were asking me, how can we do that? I mean, where do we start? There are a lot of information online and we don't know where to start. So I am just going to try and explain to this as simple as possible. So if you want to enter for the express entry, the express entry is a program made the Canadian government made for skilled worker, for people that are coming from different countries to come and work in Canada and contribute on the economy of Canada, of course. So how do you do that? The first thing that you will need is you will need to get your credentials evaluated. So you will need to get your either your diploma, your degree, or your PhD evaluated on the education level of Canada. How do you do that? There's different ways of doing that, but what I recommend is using the WES, which is WES, which stands for World Education Services. These people, they are really very honest, they are very fast, and they don't charge a lot of money. So like their charges are between $150 to $200 unless you want an express service. So what do you do is you go on there, you can it's an application actually. You download their application and then you go and read what they need. You send them your credentials, you send them your diploma, you send them your transcript, and then you will pay. When you pay, they'll start looking if they need any information, then they will contact you, and after that they can send your results to the immigration to the Canadian immigration directly. So that's like the first thing you need to know to do, because if you don't have that evaluation, you cannot open a file in the express entry. The second thing you will need, the most important thing, is a language certificate. So the one that most people use is the ILT. This one you can write it in any country. It's a computer-based language. It is extremely hard. You will need to exercise to be able to pass this, but there are also others, like if you're in Europe, you might want to try TOEFL. They are different, but I recommend ILC because I know it's found in most countries and in Africa. I think you can even write it in Rwanda. They have ILC. So if you're from Rwanda, if you're from Burundi, or you're from Kenya, you're from South Africa, definitely you will write that. So those are the first things you need. When you get those things, and then you will create a profile in Express Entry, and once you create that profile, then they will give you certain points. So like at the moment you need a minimum point of 67 points. Like your age has a point. The younger you are, the more points. The higher you are educated, the more points. But recently the Canadian government started something new. So if you don't have A bachelor, if you have something they call a trade. A trade is a course that you do that allows you to work. For example, if you're a truck driver, you are a carer, you are a child minder, those are what we call trades. You can use actually that to come to Canada. But with this particular this particular trade, you will need a job offer, which also means that you will still need to get your credentials evaluated. I am going to put all the links below. So there is also something that you can use to get your credentials accessed. This one is not like WES. It doesn't really evaluate your credentials, but it does give you an assessment. It does give you an idea where that your education stands comparing to the education of Canada. I am also going to put a link below that you can click on, and then you can go into this. Is much cheaper. I think it's about 150 Canadian dollars. I'm not sure anymore, but you can also use their results in the express entry. However, it's better to choose if you want to use the WES. If you want to use any other organization, I'm talking about the WES because I use the WES and I have a good experience with them, and they were extremely really fast, and they gave me a good evaluation. So WES is definitely not complicated. That is what I would advise you to do. The second thing you might want to do is if you have a career that needs a regulation. What I mean by a regulation is, for example, you cannot exercise as a nurse in any country if you are not regulated by the nursing board, whether the nursing board of Belgium, whether the nursing board of Canada, in all the or even in Africa, because you need a certain registration number to be able to exercise that career. So like if you are a lawyer, you definitely need that number. If you are a doctor, you definitely need that number. So from that, you can also apply directly to one of those boards. For example, if you are a nurse, you will need to apply to NNS. If you are an engineer, they also have their engineering board. If you are a lawyer, they also have their own board. So you need to do those two things. What you need is you will need your education credentials evaluated, and you will get for example, if you are a bachelor and you apply, they are going to tell you this applies to this amount, to this in Canada. We evaluate that if you need to be a bachelor holder in Canada, for example, you're still going to add 1 year. So the whereas you can also use it if you simply want to study in Canada. But it's always very interesting to have your profile in the express entry. Even if, let's for example say you put in the express entry right now and you are around 200 points and you are like, this is not much. You don't know, because let's say maybe next year there's a province that needs people that do the same thing that you do in your career. They can still pick you up. So it's not really a waste of time to be in the express entry. It's actually very interesting. So that is how you can come to Canada if you want to come. This is like the fastest way, the easiest way, because if you're picked from the express entry, you come with a permanent resident and you come, you can work directly and you're using your own names. So like this is the best way to come to Canada. And if you have any other questions, just drop them in the comments below, and I will be more than very happy to answer to those questions. Stay tuned for now. Bye.